Hi, my name's Catherine Ousselin, and welcome to my first ever Google Hangout with Paulino Brener. And I'm going to say this: if you don't know Paulino, you need to hook up with him right away. This man has saved me in the past 25 minutes. He corrected everything I did wrong. And Paulino, I thank you so much because I was just going to try and screw up on my own, and I think I owe you a definite cafe or something there in Minnesota because I was there last weekend, in fact.
No problem. No problem. It's nice to screw up together.
It's nice to screw up together. So I'm going to go through as much of this as I can. We're going to hopefully have a few people joining us. You can always leave a question on the event page. Is that correct, Paulino?
That's correct. They can also, I posted the link to the YouTube channel where the video is also being showed live, and they can post their questions there. Just leave a comment to the video like you would. We are live and we can answer your questions live, or if they are looking at the recording, then Catherine will see the questions later and she will answer them, hopefully.
I will answer them, yep. And you can always find us on Twitter. Both of us are active users. On Twitter, I'm at CatherineKU72, and Paulino, you are?
Paulino Brener.
Perfect, easily. Okay, so today we're here to talk about smart boards, Promethean boards, and ways to fake an interactive board for world language educators. And the reason why I chose to do this Hangout was I've been listening to a lot of teachers, especially on the French Teachers in the U.S. Facebook site, and they say, yes, I have a smart board, but I just don't know how to use it. I said, well, did you ask for professional development? And the answer usually was, figure it out yourself, which isn't very helpful. I'm known as a big tech presenter. I go around the United States giving presentations on how to use apps, on web tools, on storytelling. And what I'm learning is that some of the technology that teachers have had for a while, say for example a smart board or a Promethean board, that's being put aside and not being used effectively. Now, it's not as though the smart boards are old technology. They still work. They're still very important tools for us to be using in the classroom, and I'd like to just show you today a few ways to use it more efficiently so that you're not just using it as a projector, or that you're not just using it as a way to show your Word documents and write on them. There are so many great ways that you can use them to get your students interacting in the classroom for world languages. But also I want to show the people that you don't need to have an interactive whiteboard. You can have an Apple TV and an iPad, and you can imitate the same ideas, and you will have a very good success. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and we're going to look at my presentation, and then we're also going to look at the Smart Notebook software, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of the apps that I use to imitate the smartboard through the iPad. So let me just switch this over here. You'll probably have that few seconds of the Hangout being weird. Okay, here we go. All right. So, Paulino, can you see that okay?
I can see your presentation, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so if you need to get a hold of me, I'm either available by Twitter or email, or if you know how to stalk me on Facebook, you can try that way as well. So I just want to talk to you a few things about our objectives. So kind of what I was doing before is that I'd like to show you some more tools on using Smart Notebook and Promethean. I got my first smart interactive board in 2009 after I got a $9,000 tech grant from the state of Washington. And I was basically given the board and said, because I chose it, and they gave it to me and said, okay, well, you like technology, you figure it out, which I did. I stayed at school every night for about 3 or 4 hours after school, just playing with it and watching a lot of YouTube videos. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've learned through that sort of playing around, looking at the flash activities that are going to engage students. Now, Promethean, we're going to do some workarounds because Promethean boards and their software don't have the same exact options for creating flash activities, but you can actually import a smart notebook into Promethean and run it that way, which it's the greatest workaround because that way you get the best of both worlds. And then we're going to look, like I said, at the 3 apps. We are going to look at DOS3 or DOS3, however you pronounce it, Splashtop and Byboard, and kind of how each one of those works. You're going to see this presentation is available online. I've been sharing it around, so all these links that you see will be able to be clicked on. If you don't see where to find the presentation, just leave me a comment and I will send you the link. But really, the best way, instead of bringing in the smart people, which they're from Canada, I love them, they can do both French and English, it costs money to bring in someone who knows how to do this. If you would have maybe an hour per week, you can go and do these tutorials, and then there's a lot of videos. I really like the video tutorials because the first thing I sat down and watched were other teachers and what they were doing. So I've got a couple of videos for you for beginners, true beginners, like how do you turn the dang thing on, then more of the basics, and then beyond the basics. And I really like Mike Oberdick's options because he's a thoughtful teacher. He's not just using this to draw pretty circles on it. He's actually engaging the students and asking them to interact with the software so that they're building their knowledge on how to construct the universe, or something smaller probably. The Promethean board I have used with some of my colleagues up here in Bellingham that I don't have one, and I've only played on them, and I shouldn't say play, I've only worked on them a few times. I've gone through I did actually purchase the clickers, if you can believe clickers. Those are, what now, 5 or 6 years old. I bought the Promethean clickers because the smart board people didn't have a good option for me. So I have run the Promethean software, the ActiveExpression, but I don't have a Promethean board, and I'm not very comfortable with using one yet. The tech channel has a few good videos for you to watch, but the really great option for you is I've given you a link to Mrs. Kitchen's. She has 13 or 14 tutorials that you can watch on how to use your Promethean boards, and I think she did a fantastic job with those. Beyond watching videos, you probably want some actual resources, and what I've given you are some sites that you can use with your interactive boards, and so there's no software needed for these. Digital Dialects, Alien Languages, and Languages Online are just some sort of game sites that you can throw up on the board, and the kids can interact with the board and play and try and do some fun activities. But the Smart Exchange, ABC Teach, Promethean Planet, and the other whiteboard activities, those are sites where teachers have shared their notebooks or their files that are their pre-made work that they've done, so that all you have to do is download it and it's on your computer and you'll be able to use it and edit it. This is the best way to start if you're a brand new user or if you're still hesitant about making your own notebook, which is filled with different activities or perhaps curriculum. Smart Exchange and Promethean Planet are the official ones. Those are great, and if you can just start there, you're going to get more activities than you possibly will ever need to make on your own. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to, I heard a little bing, and I'll stop the screen share on there. Okay, thank you. I guess, is there a question? I heard a little bing, and so I'm wondering if someone's trying to get in.
No bings yet, but,
no bings, yeah.
But while you're here, would you please remind me, and maybe I can share on the event, where is this application presentation available?
Okay, I shared the, I'm going to put it, can I put it in the notes here? Can I put it on the actual presentation? It's on my site, and I will show you my site here. It's catherine-ousselin.org, and I have all my presentations on the left side. You'll be able to go there and click and find this presentation, or I did put it as a link in the event page. Okay. So that's a couple places where you can find it.
Great.
All right. So when you first get that smart board in your room, you're going to be wanting to know like some basics and how to open up the software. And like I said, I know the smart board better because I have one and I use it every day for as many different reasons as I can. And what we're going to look at is, let's see if I can get that up there. 1 second. Let's share that. Okay. So this is the first thing when you open up Smart Notebook. You're going to have this beautiful, very clean looking software system. And this is usually, you can have the Smart Notebook software without having a smart board. So you can just download this and play around with it on your computer. It does not need to be attached to a board. You can run it off of your mouse on your computer, which is nice. I think you get a 30-day trial on this. after that, I would ask your district, hey, you know, I'm doing some stuff with this. Can I please get this software? When you open it up, the first time you've got a whole bunch of tools, and I'm just going to walk you through. So my first question is, Paulino, can you see my cursor?
Move it. Let's see. Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay, so at the very top, you just are going to have some tools. I'm going to run over them real quick. The arrows change from page to page, and you can think of this like a PowerPoint. It's very much like a PowerPoint because you've got separate pages, and on each page you can put text, you can put pictures, you can put videos, and you just scroll through the pages with these two arrows left and right. Okay, if you go to the top, you have the do and undo redo button, so if you make a mistake or if something pops up incorrectly, you can just undo that. Underneath, you've got add a page, so if you want to put a whole new page in, that'll give you a blank page, or you can get rid of a page, which I won't do that because this is a good page to have. You've got the save button, you've got an open file, so if you need to open up a different notebook file, there it is. View screens, this is really nice because a lot of people don't realize that they can make their, they can make the shot that they see a full screen. If you happen to have a dual smartboard, which allows two students or two people to touch at the same time, you can do the dual page display. So the one I do the full screen is when I have a lot of text on there and the kids need to see everything, so I can just make it large like that, and then I can scroll up there. Okay. A lot of teachers want to show their students stuff bit by bit, so when I use the screen, I can pull down and I could have a whole bunch of text under here, and then as I'm scrolling down, the students would see as much as I need them to see. And that's sometimes good for anticipatory type activities, or if you're having a dialogue or a conversation, you can pull that down and the students will see as much as you want them to. Okay, I don't use the measurement tools. I'm not a math teacher, but you could play around with those. You can insert tables. The tables get a little tricky. They're not as user-friendly as, say, Microsoft Word or if you're using Excel, but they can be used, and I use them when I'm doing partner experiences. I've got A and B side, so those are pretty basic. The blue arrow right here is your arrows that will help you move things around. Okay, so if you're clicked on that, you're not going to be able to text. Okay, then you've got a whole bunch of pens. So you have 4 pens in your tray on your smartboard and the eraser. You can change the color of any one of those pens by opening up this icon and touching your pen to one of these. So you could have a calligraphic pen, a crayon, a highlighter. Highlighter works really well when you want students they're highlighting with you and you want to show them exactly what they want to highlight. That's really good for the needy kids. And you can also make your pens different colors and squiggly shapes. And beyond that, of course, you can choose all sorts of colors. Okay. So the other ones I don't use as much, but you can see that the basics are very helpful already. Another thing about the eraser, you can change the size of the eraser. So I'm going to make a quick line here. Okay, we'll just draw. Okay, Paulino, I imagine you can see that?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a purple, and I said, okay, I could make it a small eraser and just do this once at a time, which is kind of time-consuming, or I can make it a large eraser and do the whole thing at once. One of the things the kids like is if you take the eraser, the one that you have in your hand, and you draw a circle around whatever you want to delete that's written by the pen, and click in the middle. Let's try that again. You draw a circle around it, and then smack it in the middle. It takes care of everything at once. So the kids think that is really fun to do. When they're up at the board, they like to try and erase things all at once. Okay, so those are the basic top tools. Okay, on the left here, you've got the page, like the page view, like all your different pages that you've made, and you see that I've got 20-some pages on here. You can go to any page just by clicking on that. The next one down is your gallery, and we'll come back to that in a second. That has a lot of wonderful experiences for you to make your smart notebook more engaging for your students. Okay, there's some plugins that you can do. I have not played with those very much yet. And there are some attachments that you can put in. I have not played a lot around with those because there are power users, and then there are pretty good power users of the smartboard. I'm trying to just keep it at a level where I'm comfortable, I'm exploring, but it works fast for me in class. Okay. So I'm going to take a little break. There's no questions there, I don't think. No. And I'm wondering if Jodelle got in. Okay, oops, sorry. So we're going to go up here to the Gallery Essentials. This little picture frame has everything that you need to build the engaging activities. And the nice thing about Smart Board and the Smart Notebook is that they've created some sort of flash activities. And these activities are, okay, they're to be played by 1 or 2 students at a time, or the class can play together, but they're just little ways that I use in class to for an entrance task, or for an exit ticket, or for the middle of the class when the kids are, they've had a lot of curriculum put at them and they need a little break, or they need to think, or they need to show that they've been understanding. So when you go into this Gallery Essentials, you've got lots of things to look at. First of all, they already have a bunch of curriculum for the different areas. So English and language arts. They've got paper backgrounds, grammar, adjectives, and you can look at that. They've got little, let's put that in here in a second in a new page. You can just drag something in if you want to use it, and it's pre-made. Some of these are curricular things that other people have made. Okay, and it's British English. Oh, wonderful. So you can do something like that. Those are pre-made setups for you. Okay. So I'm going to close that part. The next thing down is the lesson and toolkit. And what I like in there is just they've got different activities for kids to play with. And if you want to go through and look at those, the games, they've got crosswords, a deck of cards, which I don't use very much in class, but they're there. But when you click on that, you're going to see the interactive and multimedia. Okay, so there are 162 activities that you can do. And what I've done on this notebook, which you're going to find inside the presentation, so on the Google presentation that I was showing you, you're going to have all of these 20 that I've made for you, right here, where it says Smart Notebook Flash Activities Assessment Software. So I've put together 20 activities. That way you can see how I use them in class, and then you can play with those, you can edit them, but you can download them by going to the link right here. That will open up the Google Drive, and you'll be able to download that. Now to use them, you're going to need to download a trial copy of Smart Notebook to be able to view them. Otherwise, when you download it, you're not going to be able to use it at all. Okay, so I'm going to show you this, are a little bit small, I imagine, on the screen. They've got them organized by color. So here are the blue, the brown. They've got a few other things like the dice in there, and we'll come back to those in a moment. And then it goes to green and orange. So if you're a person that likes to color coordinate, go for it. I just always use blue because it's the first one there. Okay, so the first one that you're going to see is category sort. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these 20 very, very quickly so that you get an idea of what they look like and how I use them in the World Language Classroom. And we're going to make it like this so you can see a little bit larger. So the category start, you can put in pictures, and then you can put in little categories. So the students would have to go up and say, the jaguar lives in the savannah. So they would say that in the language. And they would say, la baleine habite dans l'eau, or la ballena vive en l'océan. Hope I said that right. So I would send one student up at a time, or maybe have one student with another pair. And they would put all of these animals where they think they live, expressing the name of the animal, the verb, and the place, their habitat. And when the kids are done, okay, let's put him in the wrong place, shall we? We're going to go to check, and they'll see exactly that they've put them in the correct place. And the kids get really happy to see that they can check their work automatically. Okay, so that's category sort. Say I don't want a page, I can just delete the page. I can get rid of that. There we go. This is image arrange. And I used the, let's reset it here. To put in pictures, you just can go up to Insert an Image. And then you probably have some pictures that you want to use. And so you just drag those in there. So I'm going to drag in one real quick. Let's put in the fire hydrant. Okay, open it. And if the picture comes out real big like this, usually just scroll to the bottom, and you can resize the picture to the size that you need it. Boom, boom, boom. and then you hover it over, and you see when you hover it, it turns yellow, and as soon as you let it go, it's going to put that right in there. And if you have an extra one, you can always just delete that. Okay, so I'm going to delete that picture because we don't need him in there. And there we go. Okay, so this story, the kids come up and they see the story. It's out of order, and when they put it in order, it will be all the green checks. Okay, so that's a really nice one. Image match is very, very basic. I'm not sure I know the pictures are showing up. Let's see if I edit it. All my animals have disappeared for the moment. And I know, so I think the one thing about Smart Notebook is when you use a lot of Flash activities on one file, it gets to be a little bit memory intensive. So try maybe not to put more than 1 or 2 files on an actual, games on an actual file. But you can imagine right now there's a hippopotamus in English, an elephant, a hyena, and then you choose, the kids would come up and they look at the word, and they drag it into the correct spot underneath the picture. And if it's a longer phrase, all they have to do is touch the sentence and it will go, okay, there's a giraffe, and we're going to imagine that this is a zebra. Okay, and when the students are done, they would go hit check, and they would see the ones that they got right. So that's really basic, but interestingly enough, you know, when the kids, when they're first learning, they just want some basic idea, how can I demonstrate that I understand the vocabulary that we're working on? Okay. The other one that's fun is the image select. The student comes up and they have to choose the right word that matches that picture. And they get a kick out of this one. I'm not sure why it's so exciting for them to see all those pictures flashing by, but it's fun. So I send up one student at a time. And if a student doesn't know, I always say, well, help them out. Which one do you think it is? And they'll usually shout out the right answer. Sometimes they try and do the wrong answer. So there's also the keyword match, and as you can see, it's running kind of slow because there's so many of those in there. So I'm going to come back to that one maybe. Okay, so there's multiple choice, and that's really basic. The kid walks up to the student walks up to the board, reads the sentence, I think with, and they click out my foot, and my students say, no, it's going to be my brain. Okay, so then they hit the next question, and another student comes up. Really basic, really easy to make. When you are doing this, you just hit edit, you type in the word, you type in the correct answer, and it's done. So there's a lot of, I use Kahoot, I use Socrative, I use Infuse Learning, all of those we use with our iPods that we have in class, but sometimes I just want to be in control of a quick little introductory activity at the beginning of the class, and this really does it. All right. The next one is the tiles. This one is not as exciting for the students. It's not very interactive. The idea is that there's a description here that they're going to read, and then behind it I put a picture. And so if they can read the idea, and they're going to guess, well, what school classroom object is this? And in here I was teaching in second year with which. So I think in Spanish it would be like con lo cual. And that you have the pictures behind there so that you can have them read it and then guess what object they think it is. So that one's pretty easy to make. Let's go down and show you. You always just go to edit, and then you put in your pictures. I have a whole bunch of saved, but if you don't have those pictures, you can go over into your gallery and you could type the word nose. Okay, so I'm in the picture frame up here. And there's related folders, and there's notebook files and pages. Sometimes there's a picture in there for you, or if you were looking at animals. Okay, there's 12 pictures of an animal, and you can just pull that in. Yep.
Catherine, are these galleries that come free with this program?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
So everything comes in with, once you get the whole notebook software program, everything's in there. These pictures that you see over here are mine. And I just saved them over the years. I've got a huge file that I share with a lot of teachers online. So if you've been on with me on Twitter or on Facebook, I'm always putting out the link to my 5,000 images that I share with teachers for all different languages. And I do Spanish and French. I'm working on the German. If you ever want a copy of those, you can get in contact with me. That way we're not going around Google searching for hours and hours for that perfect picture. I try and use all shapes and sizes, colors, backgrounds, everybody's included. So those pictures are available for you.
Great. By the way, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
While that is loading, you're doing a great job. So far, no questions. But
Ah,
Joe Dale, Julia Spencer, and David Morris have said hello. They're watching live.
wonderful.
Anyone watching live is welcome to ask any questions, right?
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to continue down the line. I won't try and spend too much on these, but I just want to show you that these are available. Once you get the program, this is all there for free, and they are really easy to make. So this one, students match the words with the pictures. I walk with my feet. I eat with my mouth. Okay, these are really basic things. In French one, I want them to learn the verb and the body parts. And so they come up to the board and they say it out loud. I draw with. Let's put in my ears because that's not right. They hit check and they see, no, that is not right. So we reset it. Just a quick little, introduction at the beginning of class. We looked at the multiple choice already. We looked at that one. Okay, so tiles, that's a different one. So the timeline I rarely ever use. It's not, maybe it's something for a history teacher, but it's not that interactive. You can put different dates on here and the students can guess what happened at that time period. Okay, so this is really not that exciting, but all you do is put in a date and then give it a description. Not very engaging for students, but if you were going over a quick date review, that might be something you use. Oh, the vortex. My students love this one. You have terms, and usually these are spinning, but I think it's running a little slow on here. We're learning about Saint-Nicolas and Père Fouettard in the French and Alsatian experience during December 6th. These two people come and visit you, and if you're a good kid or a bad kid, you get sticks or you get candy. So you can see they're spinning now. So the students have two different people, two different ideas, and they have these sentences at the bottom. It says here, he gives out gifts. Okay, so the kids would have to read that sentence and decide, does it go into Saint-Nicolas or does it go into Père Fouettard? So if you put it in the wrong one, it kicks it back out, and so the kid would realize right away that he or she wasn't right. So, and it's going to run really slow, there it gets kicked out. So then they know automatically, okay, it's this one. If you had terms, if you were doing fruits and vegetables, if you were doing sports that you play with a ball or that you play with your hand or you play with your foot, something like that, just to get them to use the two different levels of comprehension. That one's pretty easy. WordBiz is really fun. They have a question here, and they have a timer, and they have to say, okay, this is about animals. This one has black and white stripes. What is it? It's a zebra. So they have to come up to the board and spell out the word before it ends. The thing is that they can't use the same letter twice. So if they hit the E, if there were two different unaccented E's, they'd have to have two different tiles. Otherwise, they would have to start over again. Okay, so then we go to the next one. And this one it's a very fast cat that has black spots, so I'm thinking it's a guépard. And they go, oh no, it's not a guépard. Okay, what else could there be? There's, oh, leopard, and so they're trying to think of it out loud, and the other kids are helping them by telling them, oh, which one it is. Okay, so this one's easy to make. To make these, we're going to go to finish here real quick, and we'll reset it. So where's my edit buttons at the top? There we are. So here you put in the questions, and then you put in the answers. You can choose the font, which, it's not a great choice. Number of questions. You can have quite a few, or you can make a second page. You can choose if it's an easy puzzle, if it goes really fast. And if you want to password control it so the kids can't change, that's fine too. There's page 2. I continued it. And here you're having the students read. And if this is French 1, they're learning to say it's it has, it is. And that's a great way for them to build their reading fluency. It's fast, and it also helps them with their spelling. And you notice I put in all the accents at the bottom. I do that by using the alt codes. The alt codes usually will give you, there it is, the accent that I just stuck in. That way the students are using better orthographic experiences. Okay. Word guess is a lot like Hangman. It's the same thing. They have a clue, and it says, I jump with my legs, and what else do you jump with? Okay, well, the kids probably know that it's their feet, so they go up and they spell it out. And, okay, I guess I had the wrong word. Each time that they get it wrong, they get a splat in the face. This one's fun because I must have spelled the word wrong. In any case, it's a fun one. You can also do it with goals if you want to use, let's see. If you're in the edit, you can do a tomato splat or you can do basketball so that they would miss something like that. So that's a fun one to play. Okay, these are dice, and the dice are customizable so that you can put in your own pictures. So I chose all of these pictures. We were working with adjectives, okay, and I can hit no repeat. And then on this side, I chose, come on over here. It's going to be a little slow. I remember this one is a real weirdo. I chose words. I chose the pronouns. And so the kids come up and they have to click one of the dice. They're going to get a pronoun like I, you, he, she, and then they're going to get an adjective or a verb, and they have to create a sentence with those two. And a lot of teachers do that at the desk, you know, where they're just two kids sitting together or a group. They roll the dice and they see what they have to click. But this one, everybody's looking at it together so all the students can interact at the same time. And I wonder why this one isn't working on the other side, but if you get this at home and it doesn't work, give me a call. There it is. Okay, so there it says you, excuse me, I, and use your own gender. So here you have to say, I am whatever, healthy, I'm strong, whatever sentence that they can come up with. And I like that one because it gets, you know, you could have this up at the board, and then the kids back at their tables would look at their partner and they would come up with their own sentence, which I like that one. I also did another dice. When we're doing San Nicola, I give out branches and candies in class when they make their St. Nicholas stockings. And every year they would accuse me of playing favorites. So I said, okay, you come up to the board and hit this dice, and it's going to decide for you if you're going to get bonbon or branche, which is kind of cute because then it's not me deciding. And I put the same number of bonbon and branche on a 6-sided dice, 3 and 3. And that way they couldn't say that I was playing favorites with them. So you can use dice in a different way. And the way to customize them is you open it up and you would just go to insert a picture, choose the picture you want, just drag it in there. I can show you. Let's just pick out this Bulldogs one. Okay, drag it in, you hover it over, and it'll switch it over here in a second. And that way you can choose the pictures you want that maybe pertain to your curriculum. There it is. Like that. So I can also get rid of that. I didn't really want it in there. And boom. Okay. So there are lots of games. I don't want to spend too much time on each one.
We have a question.
We do. Wonderful.
So the question is from Mademoiselle Zimmer.
Okay.
And she says, is there a way to enter multiple questions and answers at the same time? Or must they be typed one at a time?
On most of these, it's a one answer at a time. It's kind of a real low-level flash activity, so you don't have a lot of options. Sorry. I hope that's if she has a follow-up to that, let me know. We can go back.
Okay. And then I think we have another question from David Morris.
Okay.
And that one I don't have to show yet, but it says, do these Flash templates come with this software?
Yes, they do.
Software, or did you program them?
No, that's the best part is, I'm going to show you, I'm going to switch back to the screen. Okay, I could technically make these on my own. A lot of teachers use Hot Potatoes or Kia. They use templates, and all the templates are found on the software. So when you're in Smart Notebook, you go to the picture frame here, and you go to Lesson Activity Toolkit and Interactive and Multimedia. And there you have all of these games, so which I've been showing you is the sentence arranging, the tiles, the timeline. And to get one in, all you do is pull it in, and it's all ready to go. And to edit it, you click on the little tab where there's a little edit button. Let's get rid of this one, and we'll pull in the Vortex one. Okay, so it's all ready to go. You hit edit, and then you have real basic. What do you want in label 1? What do you want in label 2? And then you put in your words, and you decide, is it going to go into which vortex? When you're done, you hit OK, and the game's ready to go. It takes no more than 10 minutes to set this up. It is quick, easy, and anybody, you don't have to know any programming. If you can use Microsoft Word, this is wonderful for you because it's that easy. It's all set up to go. Try it out. Okay. Any more questions, or shall we plug along? I think we will. So
I
I'm going
think
to go
that's
back.
it for now.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad we had some questions. I was a little worried. Okay. So they do have some language dice, and I know that these aren't going to work very well online because you won't be able to hear them, but when students are learning numbers, this one is in French and this one's in Spanish. So you can have the students roll the dice and then they'll say it for you. If you're playing a board game in class, if you're playing like something that involved all the students having to say the numbers together, 1 through 6, it's not very advanced, but it's kind of fun to listen to them. Okay. This one, let's see what it is. Oh, love this one. The random. So you're going to see all my pictures from my childhood. There's one missing. When you're trying to get students into groups, and there's always the who's going to go with whom, this is a random image group generator. So you can put each kid's picture in there, and they hate you for that, by the way. You can decide how many groups you want, and it'll put the kids into groups so they know that they have to be with those people. I really like that one. It's not really for the kids, it's for the teacher. And you can do the same thing with names. So if you wanted to use, instead of their pictures, you can generate groups like that. So you can also regroup if they had a problem. So it's something that you could have in a file, always ready to go, put the students' names in, and it's an easy way for no discussing with the group. Okay. There is a little things that you can find in there that will help you if you want to teach the kids metric, how to measure something, and it'll tell you how long something is. So that's an interesting one. So if you put it here and here and you click the little arrow, it'll tell you that this is 2.9 centimeters, so you could practice numbers that way. All of these are found more towards the bottom. So there's the domino generator, there's a firecracker, the measuring tool is down toward the bottom, and you'll have to find it. It's just in the middle somewhere, I'm sure. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is, okay, previously I couldn't figure out how to get YouTube. Oops, I'm going to stop that. Hit stop. Okay, I wanted the students to have embedded videos in the notebook, so I didn't have to go back and forth. So I went through the internet trying to figure out who has done this before. And Smart Notebook has changed their software once in a while, and then I found if you go in, you can put in an internet browser. And so I'm going to start a new page. This is my workaround because they didn't have exactly what I wanted. But at the bottom here, you can copy paste a website. So if I were up, sorry about that. Turn that off. Okay. Hello, Greg. You're probably going to see yourself. If I wanted to put my technology website in here, and I didn't want the students to have to go out, I just copy and paste that in there, and I hit go, and my website will pop back up. There it is. So thinking about syncing for teachers. If you want to put in a Google, if you want to put in YouTube, you can put in a YouTube as well. And that's really nice so that you don't have to go back and forth between the browsers. And that way, I like to show a video and then have maybe an activity based on it. So that's a great way that you can integrate all of your stuff at once together. Okay, so I've basically gone through 20 of these. There are a few more that I don't use, but the interactive and multimedia, if you're going to learn anything on how to make your smartboard a better tool in the classroom beyond just basic projecting, use one of these activities. The kids, the first couple of times, they're a little hesitant to come up to the board, but if you use the random student generator, then they have to come up. They get into it, especially those games where they have to type out the words quickly before the buzzer comes up. These are easy to use. You can customize them to whatever the curriculum you're working on is. If you have maybe 15 minutes, you drag in something, you drag in the image, and then it's ready to go. And you can save that. You can share it with other teachers. You can give them the file by email. As long as they have the Smartboard notebook, the Smart Notebook software, they'll be ready to go. Okay, so I showed you a lot there, and you're going to find all of these on the presentation that you'll have a copy of. You can also use your Smartboard to do assessment with the kids, so you would make questions. This is different, whereas the board, the students come up and touch the board. This is where the kids are using a device. Now, if you're using the Smart Response system, they can use that on their tablets, their Chrome notebooks, their Chromebooks, their iPads, whatever they have that surfs the internet, they can use that. This is an extra cost. I don't have this in my class, and I would like to use it one time. I demoed it for a few times back about 2 years ago. You can also purchase their clickers, and clickers are very 2005, 2006. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that they can only be used for one thing. You can't surf the internet. You can't text each other. On this one here, there's a QWERTY keyboard, so the kids get the idea that they're texting, but they're really not doing anything but answering a question that you prepared. I use the iPods in my classroom, and we use Kahoot and Infuse Learning. My district at first said no iPods, so I had to use something. What I used was the Promethean clickers. So it's kind of funny because I was using Promethean clickers with a smartboard, and I was using the Promethean ActiveExpression. It's great. It makes very good questions that you can either do a text response to, or you can do an ABC multiple choice. That's about it. If I'm using Infuse Learning, I can have the students draw, I can have them interact with me more. But if your district says, okay, no iPods, no phones, no nothing, all you get is clickers, you can try these. All right, so both of these, let's see, a set of these is usually about $1,500, which is kind of expensive. If everybody just has their own iPod, you could buy the response, this program right here. It does cost, and you do have to kind of learn how to use it. It's not too hard. It's pretty basic. It's the same thing with ActiveExpression. Either you buy a set of these clickers, or you can use your own devices, but you still have to purchase the special software. Those do not come with the basics. I have a set of Promethean ActiveExpression clickers that I was forced to buy, so if you'd like to buy them, mine are not the QWERTY keyboards. Mine are the old numeric 1, 2, 3, well, just like a telephone. I'm selling those for $500 to anybody who wants them. I'll give you the software and all the training you want. So if that's an option for you, contact me. Okay. I wanted to check to see if there are any thoughts or questions on that.
Yeah, there are a couple of comments and questions. If you wouldn't mind sharing my camera for a second, I'll share those so people can see we are live.
One moment, please. There it is.
Okay. Okay. So Julia said, so I need these random group generators. I always get complaints when grouping kids.
Absolutely.
Comment to your group generator. David said in response to the explanation you gave to the templates, I see, very user-friendly. He also said, I remember those clickers.
It's not that they were a bad thing, okay? They were wonderful. They were amazing. Kids got so excited. But the one use you're doing, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And then Mademoiselle Zimmer says, you're doing a great job of explaining and providing ideas. Merci. And she does have a question.
Okay.
She says, for the internet browser app, you must have internet Wi-Fi in order to show the YouTube video or smart notebook, correct?
Ooh, let me think about that for a second. For the internet browser, you must, okay, so yes, the computer has to be set up to the internet to stream it. Now, if you wanted to download the video, I'm going to switch it back over to me real quick.
Yes.
If you want to,
click, there you are.
Yeah. You can insert a flash video file. So let's say that you're on YouTube, or you have no YouTube at school. Some schools still have that, believe it or not. You could download the video beforehand, and then you import it from your files. I don't think I have any files like that. No, I don't have any flash files, but you could do it that way, and that way you don't need to be hooked up to the internet. That is an option.
Right. Right. That's all the questions I have so far. Thank you, everyone, for your questions.
Yes, that's great. I know that smart boards seem a little old school to a lot of people now because we do have these. Okay, we have this. This is also, and we can see like multiple me's. Okay, if you have an iPad or a tablet or something else, yes, you can get around having a smartboard. But for those teachers who have a smartboard and say, I don't use it for anything, just projecting, that's $3,000 that your district spent on this, or maybe you spent on it, or your grant spent on it. You can use it for some really good things. And once you get involved with a few of these activities, you start watching the tutorials online, you see what other teachers are doing, it's going to be a lot more engaging for you and your students. And the language things, you just kind of adapt it to what you think would be a good warm-up or assessment check. Let's say your administrator comes in and says, okay, what are you doing to assess your students? Well, here's this thing, and I can know all the answers right away. That's one way to do it. All right, so we're going to pass on to this because not everybody gets the smartboard that we get. And so if you have an iPad, just one for the class, you can make this into an interactive smartboard. So Paulino, the thing I'm about to do is really complicated, so we're going to pretend that this is going to go really well.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the 3 apps that I use currently. There are more, okay, that you can use to make trois. Oh, heck, yeah, that just popped up. Okay. I'm going to go back to the presentation here quick. Pardon for that. Okay, you're getting up. I had a little bit of a moment there. Okay. Okay, so we're on the presentation now, and you can connect and stream your laptop to your iPad to create a virtual interactive, and you don't need a smartboard, and you don't also need an Apple TV. So what we're going to look at is Doceri or Doceri. It's $30 a year. I'm on the trial right now. I've been on the trial for about 3 years. It says 30 days, but evidently doesn't stop. You get a little splash mark at the bottom saying you're still running the Doceri trial, and I say yes, I know. The splash top, and then Byboard. Byboard I've used a few times. It's free. It's always going to be free, but it has some limitations. So I'm going to show you hopefully how to run the splash top, and to do that I'm going to open up the program. So let's imagine this. I have Smart Notebook on my computer, but I don't have a whiteboard. That's okay. As long as the program's on my computer, I can still make all the activities and use it. Maybe even I just have a wireless mouse that I'm using it with. Okay. So I'm going to maybe, okay, don't show that again. Maybe I want to just use my iPad and walk around the room, sort of like a slate that we used back in the day, so that what I see on my computer screen actually pops up on my iPad and vice versa. And let's see if we can start it off here. If we splash, I wish I could pause sometimes on live, but that doesn't always work, does it?
No, we are live, everyone.
We are live, and
so
Catherine
this
says,
is a good time to remind everyone while you look for that. We are doing a live presentation with Catherine Ousselin and on Promethean boards, smart boards, and now we are trying to do a fake interactive board with the iPad. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on the Google Plus event on YouTube video. Either now live or when you're watching the recording. And I'm sure Catherine will get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, so we're using Splashtop first because I have this. And what I'm doing right now is I'm connecting my iPad that's in front of me to my laptop. And I showed this to my husband last night. He is not a very good, he's not really into technology. But even he was pretty amazed by this. This doesn't even have to be used with SmartBook. If you just wanted to be able to walk around your classroom and control your computer, you know, okay, so we're going to just exit on that. Okay, and I'm going to click on my computer. How are we going to show this? This will be interesting. Has it gone black for you?
No.
Okay.
I still see the Splashboard Streamer Center, the status. Okay. Yeah.
So now you're running through my iPad right now, and I'm not going to stay on this very long because in a Google Hangout this doesn't work very well. So I'm just going to stop and log out again so I can go back to my presentation. Yeah, I figured that would happen because basically my iPad was in control. Okay, are we all there?
Yes.
So were you able to hear me?
Yes.
You were able to hear me? Okay, so, and I'm going to get off of that one. There we go. So if I'm running something like this, I could put up my notebook. Okay, I could put up my activity that I'm doing, and I could be projecting this up without having a whiteboard, and I could take the iPad to a class and put it down in front of a student and say, okay, now work this. And they would be able to touch the iPad and be able to do all of this. And that way I don't have to have an interactive whiteboard. The little iPad becomes the interactive piece. I could do the same thing with a mouse, with a mouse like this, the gyration air mouse. I could just put the mouse down in front of the student and say, okay, you've got this mouse, and I want you to use the mouse to drag the items here. So this one is, they have to drag in a text, and if they've got the right word, they see the color and they see that it's yellow, it's going to show them that they were right. In just a second, it should pack it up.
We have a question from Mademoiselle Zimmer. She says, do these streaming apps work for Android or Windows 8 tablets as well?
Oh, Windows 8, I have no idea, but if you go to the Dosery website, okay, they have the app for both Android and, no, this one is only for Apple. So that's Dosery. You can see that. So that one's available. And then the other one, Splashtop, I think, is Android. Let's look. Yeah, it does. Supports Chromebooks, iPads, any PC, Mac, Chrome browser. So that one you'd have to look into. If you go to their education sites, that's the best way to start out. Don't go to their regular site. When you go to their education one, you're going to find out all of their options for you. Okay, and I think the Splashtop Classroom is what I would suggest, but if you're looking at something really cool, if you have one-to-one, they have a Mirror 360 where whatever the student's doing on his or her iPad, you can mirror that, or their tablet, whichever tablets you have, you can mirror that for the whole class to see. Now you can do the same thing with Apple TV, with a Bluetooth connection, that works as well, but if you didn't have an Apple TV, you could get the Splashtop. They're starting at $14.99, that's pretty nice. It does the Chromebook screen or their iPads. I would watch the great videos that they have. They really do show how teachers are using these. Which one? This is what I'm using right now, is the Classroom free trial. And I've been using this for quite a while, so evidently it keeps going. So these two are the best that I've used. And if you are running, if you can see in the picture here, the teacher's running the Smart Notebook software on his or her laptop, and then it does show up on the iPad. So right there you've saved yourself about $3,000 in buying an interactive whiteboard, but you still get all the ideas. And the kids would all be able to see it at once. If you don't want to go that route and you want to buy a one-time device, I would get the Apple TV. It's $99. And you need an HDMI cable and you need an HDMI projector. And that's really the important thing, is to look at your projector to make sure if it's 2010 beyond, you're going to have an HDMI cable output. If not, there are ways to get an adapter, but it's just a lot easier if you have an HDMI projector. And whatever shows up on your iPad will show up on your projector. And that's great because it's a one-time cost. It's not a renewable subscription. You do need Wi-Fi in your school. So that's an important idea. If you don't have Wi-Fi, Apple TV is not going to work for you.
Right. Catherine, and that's just so that you can move around with the iPad. Otherwise, you can just connect with cable the iPad to the projector, correct?
Absolutely. I do have a dongle that I use sometimes. Let's see, I'm going to just pull it out here and show you up on the camera what that looks like. Well, a lot of people use this dongle. Let's look at it. And we're going to stop the board here real quick. Okay, so this is my, quick little easy dongle that I put in if I want to just connect this, but the problem is that I have to keep the iPad connected to the projector at all times. It doesn't work, as well. But, and the other thing is it has a tendency to come out because it's not really secure in there. So this right here could make your iPad a projector. I've used all of these, and the best one that I've found so far is the Dosery or the Splashtop. Both of them do the same thing, and they allow you to run back and forth your computer through the projector or your iPad to the projector, however you want to set it up. Let's see, I think I put some of these apps on here for you. and that this is my big app page. I don't know if you've seen it before. I think, Paulino, you've seen it. These are the iOS apps that I suggest for world language teachers, and I've got them separated out by French, Spanish, German, and Japanese. I'm still working on the Japanese. If you're a Japanese teacher, I need your help.
Okay.
But there are lots of these for assessment that you can use. If you go down a little bit, you have also things like EduCreations and Show Me.
Okay.
And explain
do you want to share them with us?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. You're good. That's why I'm so grateful right now. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to go back up to the top and show you this is the Thinking About Syncing Technology iOS apps for world language education. And you can see I've got these all separated out by which, do you want to do storytelling? So I've got all the apps that I suggest if you're using iOS devices. A lot of these are on Android, but not every single one of them. But if you scroll down to productivity and collaboration, you have Explain Everything. That's the best $2.99 that you will ever spend on an app. The Show Me Interactive Whiteboard, EduCreations, and ScreenChump, which I need to get the link up for that. No Mia is pretty good as well, but it's a little bit more expensive for the $14.99 for the full version of it. These allow you to do screencasting and interactive whiteboard tools so that you could take a picture of a PDF and you could draw on it on your iPad as you're walking around the classroom. You can take a picture of a student, you could put a mustache on them. It basically allows you to take anything that's on your iPad and show it to everyone while you're annotating over it. And that's important. So these three apps right here, EduCreations is pretty minimal, but it's for what a lot of teachers need, that works very well. The Show Me Interactive, you can actually record your presentation. So if you want to do sort of a flip presentation where you record your lesson beforehand, I've got an example on here. You can click on the website. That way the students can watch over and over what you've done. And the Explain also does the same thing. You can animate, narrate, import, export, everything that you do on your iPad, you can get it out to your students. So this is on my website, which is called...
Those are some great tools for a flipped classroom. So you record your mini lesson once, you let the student watch it, and then come back and just practice with it or explain some more.
I think I heard somebody bing in with a question. Maybe I'm just hearing that.
So Joe Dale shared on the event page the website for the Smartboard Air. It says have a look at Smoothboard Air 2, which lets you the whole class control the mouse on different devices, and the website is smoothboard.net.
Smoothboard.net. Okay, well I'll add that onto there and put it also on the presentation. All right. Well, I think I've gone through almost everything that I wanted to say today. I could show you, and I'm going to just real quickly for the people. I wish I knew if there were more Promethean users up here. If you have a Promethean board or you're interested in one, could you like put in a comment really quick on the event page? Okay. So I don't see that we get one.
Yeah, it takes a while. It's not immediate.
Okay.
So
So
it usually takes a while.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
the ActiveInspire is how do I explain it? It's a different kind of whiteboard, and it isn't as interactive as I would say that the Smartboard is. And that's not because I like one over the other. The ActiveInspire, or the Promethean board, you have to use the pen. They have a special pen that's a special stylus. You can't use your fingers. And I know that they're trying to work on that. So if you lose the pen, you have to get a new one. Okay, that's an issue. Smart, you have pens, you can use your fingers. They have all sorts of gestures. So I'm going to show you what theirs looks like real quick. About 3 years ago, I had all of my computers, my desktop, my school desktop, and my school laptop die within 1 week. They all crashed and died. And I thought I had backups everywhere, but I didn't have enough backups everywhere. So I don't have all my Promethean stuff that I used when I was using the clickers. I'm going to show you what it looks like a little bit here.
Yeah, we have Julia Spencer say, I have a Promethean and do not use it as I should. So we do have some Promethean people out there.
Okay. A Promethean board works very much like like a smart board. Can you see my board right now?
I can.
Okay. So the only way I used the Promethean software was to make the questions for activities for my students. And I'm going to try and pull up one that looks, okay, here's one. So it's like I said, it's like a PowerPoint presentation, and you can put all of your curriculum in here. So you can put pictures, you can put text. Do you see that I'm using Comic Sans in here? That's been since 2009. Okay, it's a little bit older, I apologize. The board controls are on this smaller, and you can make it bigger. You can pin it to a certain place. You can roll it up. You can make it bigger or smaller. It is very similar. You just use the arrows to go back and forth. You can play a game, which is I call a quiz, by using this quiz that you make. And then you put in a question and you choose the right answer. And then when you have the students in their clickers, you start the question. Okay, normally I don't have something connected right now, but it is a good way to just assess the students. So I would show a little bit of content. I would, and I don't have all of my presentations, sorry. I would show some content, we'd talk about it, they'd practice, and then I would ask a question. And I could ask the question and understand that they understood it right away. So that's really nice. You can embed things very easily in here. Under the insert, you can put all sorts of media, just like on Smart Notebook. So if you want to put in a video that you've saved, you can put links, direct links to websites. You can also embed HTML. So if you wanted to be able to just to touch your board and have it jump to a website, that's already set up for you, so you didn't have to pre-make it. They have basically the same thing as a smartboard, but the one cool thing I wanted to show you was, hopefully, if you have both Smart Notebook and Promethean, you can import, okay, so you can import PowerPoints, and you can also import Smart Notebooks. And that's kind of a crazy thing for some people. I'm going to show you what that looks like. I've got one that's just, I'm going to pull up the first one I see. It's importing it, and now I can use it exactly like I would on a smart board. And it takes a few seconds because all those flash things have to pop up. So if you've got the Promethean board and you can get a trial copy, or if you can get a copy of the Smart Notebook, you could basically run your Promethean board as a smart board, which is pretty nice. I would say play around with that. Play around with it, and if you need some extra help, get in touch with me, because that's what I did for the longest time was, okay, I have these clickers with Promethean, I have the smartboard, and I have the smartboard notebook software. What am I going to do with all of this? And so it was just kind of cobbling little bits and pieces of it together. It wasn't a seamless thing, but that was 2009, and now there are new ways to get around that entirely. But I still use them both. If you're going to choose one, I would say go with Smart, but that's just because I use it every day and I know what to do with it.
So we have a couple of comments, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
I shall put you on over.
Sure. So if you stop, if you do, you don't have to do sharing. Just click on my name at the bottom, and it will show to everyone. Just
okay.
click on the box that says Paulino.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, and we have a comment from Julia that says, I prep PowerPoints for each lesson so that it has visuals, etc., and whatever I want the kids to provide the answers for. But I like for them to be able to access the correct answer, so I have gone from using it properly to just projecting the lesson. Then the kids who miss class have the lesson with the answers. I post it as a PDF on my site. So it looks like a very traditional way of using her projector, just not using all the capabilities that come with it. Michelle Garlock, she says, my projector is an Epson and has pens. I was moved to a new room this year, and the teacher who was in the room didn't use the board, just used the projector to display. There are
sorry.
There are other teachers who have the same thing, and no one knows how to use it. My school, and then it's kind of cut off there, but it says, my school have purchased an Apple TV years ago, and that's what people use. But our Wi-Fi isn't very good. So I would like to know how to use the board I have. I don't know if you have heard of the Epson one.
I've seen the Epson, say at ACTFL. I've seen it at different conventions that we've gone to for world language. It's fine. It's just that it's not, how do I put it? They don't have all the templates. They don't have all of the activities set up for teachers. What they're asking the teacher to use it as is just projecting. Like you can take a Word document in Smart Notebook and you can say print, and it will print into Smart Notebook so that you can actually write on your Word document, and they also have Smart Ink. Epson is not a very interactive experience for the teachers or the students, and I'm sorry that your school chose that. A lot of people are going, no, it's true. A lot of schools went for the cheaper version just to say that they've got the technology in the classroom.
Right.
I'm trying to look in Epson, but the truth is you can only learn so many different things at once, and I've been focusing on iPads and Chromebooks in the past 3 or 4 years. I would ask your school to provide some professional development, and as they say, tough luck, figure it out on your own, is to go onto YouTube and look for some Epson tutorials. If that doesn't work, try Twitter, of course. I'll put that out later on to see who has one of those. And also, maybe I would look at the what kind of software. I've never even seen their software. It's not very important that the teacher can write on the board. That's not what we use interactive boards for. It's for, like, what can we pull in that's pedagogically sound for the students. And when it's just me writing on the board and circling things, that I could do that with a document camera.
Correct.
The teacher. One other comment though, really quick, is the teacher that's not using it needs to tell the custodial service or the building's operator to get the board back in your room. The fact that I would imagine that the taxpayers of the district would be pretty upset to know that some very expensive piece of technology is going unused because a teacher doesn't know how to use it yet. So if you make it that kind of direct comment to your principal, I will learn how to use this, you're probably going to get your board back.
That's great. We have a couple of comments from Joe and then a question. One comment was about one of the applications you showed. It says, to make your show me's private, you have to pay now the same price as explain everything.
Yeah.
And then
$2.99 isn't too bad. I gotta say, I'm okay with that.
Okay, and here's the website he shared. Have a look at Smoothboard Air 2, which lets the whole class control the mouse on different devices. Smoothboard.net. You can add to your list of resources. And a question: what limitations have you found on Bayboard?
It's not okay. It's not that it's very limited. It's more that it's not very interactive for me. I can take pictures and I can have the kids annotate over them. The only problem is that, how did I want to say about that one? I remember that the first couple of times I was trying to hook up because there's a code that they have to. So you can tie everybody's boards together. So if they all have iPads or iPads, you have a code that you can put out so that everybody can be linked up at once, which I think is great, but it didn't always work. The ones that I did, let's see if I can show it here. Do you mind if I grab this real quick, Paulino?
Yes, so you can take me off camera now.
Okay, let's see if that, turn that off. Okay, and let's see. It's probably going to be backwards. This is what it looks like. It's not difficult to use. The icons are very basic and it's easy to use. It's just that when I tried it out with the students, it didn't always seem to link everybody up together very well. So that was a real basic one. Let's see, what else do we do with these? I've got a couple of these I can put on the site to show my my experiences with them. But I'm going to go back to you, Paulino. Was there another question? No,
I think we are done with questions.
Okay.
I would like to thank everyone for their question. Julia has a comment. Quickly, I'll read it. I don't have time to show it, but it says, if you give me a second, I'll just read it to you. And she says, I love the interactive apps you mentioned for smart boards and wish to use some with Promethean. Are there, oh, here's a question, sorry. Are there built-in ones with Smartboard? Very limited amount of time. Need to stick with what I have and not to do trial periods, as was suggested with Smartboard.
Okay, so she has a Promethean board.
Yes.
And she wants to use some of those activities.
Or to
Okay,
know if
one.
there are any built-in applications
No,
with
see,
Promethean.
Promethean does not have those, and that's the biggest error that I see with their work is that they don't. Promethean, it's more like you're the teacher, you're building a curriculum, like a notebook. I shouldn't use the word notebook because that's for smart, but you're building this flip chart, as they call them, and you put all the content in, but there's nothing unless it's the interactive quizzes that they have, and that's it. They just have the quizzes, and you can use all sorts of things on there. But unfortunately, they didn't think of making these Flash products like Smart has. We could try an experiment. If she wants to download the 20 that I made and try and pull them into hers to see if that would work, then she could, instead of getting a trial, she wouldn't be able to edit them. But we could think of some way that maybe she has a teacher friend or someone that she knows that has Smart and that could make them and then just send them to there and she could import them. That would be a workaround. Okay, I think I'd have to think on that, but she should definitely contact me by Twitter or by email because there's got to be a way around that. Smart is a better product. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just saying that's how I felt about it. Okay, but I use many other things now. I use my iPods. We use all sorts of things that make it so that you don't have to have that. So if I were going to say one thing to her, go to Infused Learning or Kahoot, and there you're going to get the assessment piece, and you'll still have your Promethean board. Put those two things together, and you've got a very good workaround, especially Infused Learning. Love that site, and Socrative. But I do know that we've gone over an hour, and we should probably wrap up a little bit. I am always online. You should have seen my website by now. I'm just going to show it one last time. When you go to catherineousselin.org, okay, it looks like this. So it's called Thinking About Syncing. You have all sorts of technology resources, apps, digital storytelling, and that's not just for iPods and pads. That's for every type of device that you have. If you want to look at curating, collaborating, and then here's what I was talking about, all the activity generators and interactive language sites. That's what most teachers are looking for now. The ones I definitely approve of are all listed here, and then I'm going to put Joe Dale's ideas up on here as well. All of these are free except for Zaption is a paid site now. But do go on here, look around, connect with me in any way that you can. I'm right here at Catherine Ousselin. And you will be able to find me on all of these. Don't go to my Pinterest, it's really not that great. So I thank you for coming today. I really appreciate that. And I don't know what I would really do without Paulino. At this moment, I'm going to fly back to Minnesota and treat him to whatever he needs because none of this would have happened today without him. And I'm very, very thankful for you, Paulino. So follow him on Twitter, follow him on Google+, follow him on Google+. And connect with us. We can make things happen in a different universe.
Great. Thank you for your presentation. A lot of people are saying thank you very much for the presentation of your generosity. And Mademoiselle Zimmer was asking where can we find the link to download the awesome templates. So I'm pretty sure they're all on your website, correct?
Yes, they are on the website. And so if you go onto the one I was just showing you a few minutes ago, there is one that's called Presentations. And right under there, you will have the entire, okay, so you'll have the entire presentation plus the links to the templates.
Great. Well, thank you very much for this presentation. I'm sure, unfortunately, I'm a traveling teacher, so I use my iPad a lot, and
yes.
I don't have the chance to have my own board, but a lot of these ideas have inspired me. Yes.
Absolutely. Keep it, you know, if you are using iPad.
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. There's so many apps. You really don't need an interactive board, but if you have one, don't just let it sit there going to waste, please. It's a good thing still. It's worth a little bit of extra time, 10, 15 minutes, and you've got a couple activities ready to go for your kids. So,
there we go. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your winter break. And if you are freezing cold, I'm jealous. If you've got snow, I'm jealous. I'm in a place where I don't get to see that very often. So I wish you all good luck. and good tech. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm going to hit stop broadcast.
Stop broadcast. Yay!